3, 2, 1. And welcome back to Chasing the Racing, episode 21. And joined by the lovely Dom the Bomb Herbertson.
And across from me, now we can officially say, the world's sexiest maths teacher. Obviously, you've had a busy day, son, haven't you? You've had a busy day. Let's go straight into it and talk about your week. Go on then. What have you been up to today?
I had my graduation. I've already graduated from my maths degree last year, but this year I've been doing my PGCE, which is like your teaching qualification.
Right, thank you.
Basically, yeah. To be a teacher, you can have any degree, but then you have to do like a year to basically learn how to be a teacher. So I finished that this year.
So not slap kids who are back answering you. Right.
But I tell you what, before we go into this, we've got, just to get the sponsor out of the way. So this episode is sponsored by Incontango Training, a leading finance, risk and treasury consultancy, but more importantly, road racing fans.
Oh,
so
there we go.
Big thanks to Incontango Training for sponsoring the podcast again.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Very generous. And we can get on with today's episode. So yeah, episode 21 flying by, aren't we?
Mate, it's just, I have no idea. I have no idea what number one, what day it is or anything. But you know me, I'm consistently useless, woman. I'm consistently useless.
So for this episode, we've got loads to talk about. Obviously, we record at Dom's place, and I can hardly get in here for trophies everywhere.
Have a word with yourself. Wind your neck.
So we've got
we're not at your place. What are you on about?
We've got the 700. So plenty of crack from that. World Superbikes. There's been two meetings since our last podcast. So there was one at Donington, the UK round, and then they flew straight out to America to Laguna Seca. So we've got lots of World Superbike crack. MotoGP, we're at Saxon Ring, so we've got a little bit of crack from there. Then BSB head to Snetterton next. So we've got a few sort of riders coming back from injury, etc. So a little bit of crack from that.
And we also have a Marshal of the Pod, don't we?
Finish with a Marshal of the Pod. So quite a lot to get through. So we'll get going. Have you been up to much before we get on to the topics? Have you been up to much this week?
Nah.
Since you've been back?
Well, obviously it's a week-long event, the Southern anyway.
I take it out of you.
It does. It does. Obviously, I had a few too many sherbets on the Friday night like everyone else did, you know. Not the Friday night, sorry, the Thursday night, because I'm home the Friday. But anyway.
Celebrating a good week, eh?
That's the one. So obviously, went straight back to work on the Saturday. You're going to get the money for the diet bill.
You know
how it is. That's the one, son. That's the one. So how about you, mate? What you been up to, mate?
I'm not a great deal.
Could I mate in there, mate? So what's your crack, mate? Cheers, mate. Cheers, mate. Go on, mate. Sorry, mate. Sorry. Anytime, mate. Go on, mate.
Over
Cheers,
to the Lake District at the weekend, which was really nice. Have you ever been to Helvellyn?
I thought you were about to say climb a mountain. No.
Nice walk. So got out and just bit of fresh air, bit of chill time. Then obviously had my graduation today. Then we're both down at the North Yorkshire tomorrow. We've got a big TT night, which I've heard they've got a bit of a dodgy guy presenting it tomorrow.
Oh, aye, there's total knacker sitting opposite you. There you go. But obviously, because I do the TT myself, you know, it's a case of I know the lads a little bit better. I think we've got Jamie Coward, who was TT privateer champion this year, 130 plus man. He's just doing an amazing job pre-TT.
Really stepped it up this year, hasn't he?
Well, the thing is, so about Jamie, you know, we've had him on the show anyway, but Jamie has been consistently improving throughout his entire career. You know, he doesn't take big steps, but every time he's always been in the top 10. He's always moved forward and constantly moving. But now, for some reason, it's starting to just suddenly come together. The whole picture. He has always been a super talent, but now is, you know, the big picture.
The stars are aligning.
Oh, well, that's it. It's starting to come together, and he's proven that to everyone. He really is. Also, we've got one of our other guests, Davey Todd. He's down there. Obviously, you're going to be kicking around with your Chasing the Racing t-shirt on, trying to sell mugs, which is a good lad. But no, we've got a huge lineup. We've got one of my mates called Richard Charlton, right? He's known as Chicken Charlton. But if you want to hear the story, you've got to get yourself down there, like you say. But obviously, this is a pre-recording thing, so it'll be a bit late. But no doubt we'll get him on the show in the future. He's such a character, mate. Such a character.
Well, starting off with the Southern 100, so it's our main topic for today. Obviously, on the TT show, we sort of described the Southern 100 course south of the Isle of Man, or like sort of Castletown area. Is it about 4 or 5 mile long
It's a
circuit?
4.5 mile long lap. But actually, you've been there yourself. You lived there for a couple of weeks you lived there?
Nah, a couple of days there.
So
what? The TT.
Right, so what did you make of it? Obviously, we delved into that a little bit. But
you
now
picked us up one morning and took us around in the van. And
how not to do it?
to me, it is mental. You know, some of like, do you know Joy's Gate? It's like a sort of left-hander through a dip, and there's a wall on the right-hand side. And
it's literally
right. Mental.
Wait, that's the thing about that wall. People think it's right in front of you. It's not. You actually you rub up against it for. Not even exaggerating, you're probably rubbing up against that for nearly 100 metres.
Yeah.
And when you come out the corner, it's that bumpy on the corner. You can't give it heavy lead angle. You can't trail the brake. You've got to be, when you're tipping into it, you've got to offload to load up the front to get it through and actually drive through. If you go there off throttle, you're going off.
Right.
But because the wall perfectly parallel with you
skimming it.
No, you'll skim it or hit it clean on. Mint corner, young'un. Mint corner.
And there's that sort of 1 mile stretch into a right-hander. That's quite so.
Over the start line.
Like as you head down to Ballabeg, before Joy's Gate, you've got that long straight, and then there's just a 90-degree right-hander with a wall on the outside. Like to me, it's just it is mental. Like do you know, like say if I walk a short circuit, I can kind of see the turning points, apexes, and I can sort of imagine what it's like riding. To me, like driving around that circuit is just like I just can't like get my head around how you would race there with it's. To me, it's just absolutely like crazy. Like I'd take my. Could you
want like sitting opposite me, being a very successful racer? You know, you are a racer through and through. But is that the case? Can you not honestly see yourself wanting to do it or do it? Like, I'm trying to get my head around this. It's a bit like, are you looking at that going, that's how I would do it, or do you just think, no, not a fucking chance?
I think the sort of, because I'm not used to having a wall on the outside of the track, so to me, I would find it really difficult to focus on the track itself, because in my head I would just be thinking there's a lamppost there, there's a wall there.
The thing is, you fast forward everything, it all becomes a blur. It do, you know what I mean? It just you're competitive. I hope your mother doesn't listen to this. I'm about to talk you into road racing. It is honestly the greatest sport in the world. But if you rode around there thinking, "Oh shit, there's a wall," you wouldn't go fast. And there's the 700 always brings full grids, and it is amazing. But that I know what you mean about that corner. But there's those two walls. But I think I'm trying to think where the walls are. It's I think they go 4 mile round. And there's one on the left, and where's the other one? Yeah, that's it. It's the one on the right, Chrissy. That's it. It's the one on the left.
It is lined with the walls.
It is literally lined. It is, but the track's amazing. But you know yourself, you're eyeing it in. But that's what makes a Southern so unique, because there is one line, and trying to pass around there is so hard. But look, the sidecars go around there, which we're going to mention because
I tell you what, I bet it's a good spectating circuit just from sort of walking around on when the roads aren't closed, like a normal day. You can imagine the racing, and there seems to be loads of good sort of spectating areas and like close to the action.
Well, the thing about the Southern is you can actually physically overlook the riders. Mm-hmm. That's the thing that it's so raw.
As in, you can like look down from the wall, and the riders can be underneath.
That's it. Because even like going,
just a question: have you had any problems with sort of idiots in the crowd putting like cameras too close to the like hanging them down off the wall and like maybe taking your eye of sight?
I've headbutted a GoPro out of someone's hand, but I tell you what, it was actually Paul Jordan at the Ulster last year, and there was an uproar because the lad was whinging about his shoulder. Paul ripped this lad's shoulder out because he had one of them selfie bell end sticks with a phone. Man. I'm telling you, right? And Paul's shoulder nearly got ripped off. He's one of our RST sponsors, right? He hit it that hard, it actually dug into his levers and ripped the shoulder. Now, you know how tough the product is, mate. It literally grabbed hold and ripped his levers nearly. And Paul was so lucky to stay on. And I tell you what, Paul, it shows the professional that he is that he didn't lose his total shit. He was obviously upset, but the fact is that person could have killed Paul. I'm not bigging that up, but
No.
But obviously in the programs now they're saying no drones or selfie sticks or nothing. But there's always a couple of people that take the piss, and people like that, people who are listening to this now, need to get that in their heads. You can single-handedly stop road racing by a bit like disobeying marshals and everything like that, and not obeying the rules. I don't want to ride under someone's like bleeding like GoPro.
It's one of those things, I think, because everyone's trying to sort of outdo each other by getting like a better picture or a better video or whatever, and get close, even closer and closer to the action. But obviously, like you say, there is a line, and as soon as it starts to become dangerous, and like you say, if people are hitting cameras on selfie sticks, it's a joke. But I tell you what, we're getting a little bit. I know it's good, sort of going off on the tangent, but.
It's what we do, Chrissy. It's what we do.
So the race week itself, you get over there. Did you get over on the Sunday, and then a track action starts on Tuesday? Is that right?
No, it started Monday night. Because it's called the friendly races, the Southern, and it's mental because you prep your bike all day, and then you get 13 minutes on each bike each night.
Right.
13 minutes. How much do you get in qualifying at like a BSB meeting?
Usually 25, 30 minutes.
That time you've got, you can come in and adjust things. This is 13 minutes.
It's quite a big lap as well, isn't it?
And a big lap, well, I'm trying to put it in perspective. Like Dean Harrison's lap record pace is like 2:60. Don't hold me to this. It's like 15, 16, or even 14s, 2 minutes. You know what I mean? And that's without the crap conditions. And I think we hit the unlucky button, really. The lucky, unlucky button, if that makes sense. We had the weather, like the nice dry weather during the day, and then obviously it turned shite in the evenings. It's been like the TT all over again. But
because you were over there, you took the Davies Motorsport 600 and the 1000.
Yes.
And then you also stepping in for Paul Jordan on the RC Express Super Twin.
Yeah, so Paul sustained an injury at Anglesey where he's damaged his thumb, so he's...
I've seen the video of that. It looked like some
is there a video? I've seen the pictures.
Picture, sorry.
Oh, right, I was about to say, if you've got that, send it to me, young'un. Jesus.
It looked like a good effort, like.
Oh, he was a heavy-handed whore on the go juice that day, wasn't he? Just whoop, whoop.
Do you know if he's doing okay?
I have no idea, to be fair, but obviously, like these teams, like especially someone like the RC Express team who was sponsored by Daffabet and Divot, is it Divot, Daffet? Anyway, Daffet. So obviously they've got almost a duty, as a big team to keep their sponsors happy, so Paul can carry on riding. So the team rang us up and said, "Look, can you ride?" They actually offered me all the bikes, but I'm with the Davies Motorsport team on the big bike and 600s, and obviously the Cowton family put me on the bike at the TT. But it's already been a year since we sadly lost James to this event, and that's one thing I want to say now. It's James loved the 700, absolutely loved it, and there's a reason why he loved it, because it's just one of the best meetings on the calendar without a doubt. But it's already been a year, mate, and that was it. Definitely hit everyone. Not just the organisers, everyone. And for the meeting to go so well, obviously there was a couple of sidecar people. That's terrible. I should remember their names, but a couple of sidecar people that got a little bit hurt. But overall, from the misfortune of last year with Ivan and Jamie, actually Mikey Evans, and obviously James, one of my good friends, he died there. And obviously, Chloe, his missus, was there. Another shout out to Chloe. She was there to say her final pieces, and it was a very strong woman, but
absolutely, yeah.
But obviously, like you say, with the Daffabet team, it was their obligation to keep the team going for Paul to carry on racing.
Yeah.
But obviously, us with the Davies, we did a fantastic job, and they're actually me biggest, I'm trying to think of a word here. I'm stuck for words, young. That doesn't very happen.
Does not very often at all.
Big words. I'm trying to think of big words, but no, me biggest achievements.
Yeah,
I honestly say it came on me the stock 1000 and the stock 600. Me 600.
So over the course of the races, obviously we'll get on to the your Super Twin races, but on the 600 and the 1000, who's your big competition? Where did you qualify? How were you finding it?
Well, to be fair, like Colin, who runs me at the Davies team alongside with John, he's got heavy experience in like short circuit racing, and I did something extremely stupid, And I started chasing the rabbit young'un in qualifying. You know, when you just think, get past. And then, because there's a lot of places where you can't, road race demands a lot of respect. And there's bits that you would if this was a short circuit rumble off, you would quite happily go diving in. There's a bit like a corner called Stadium, and it was just, I was getting caught up, and I didn't want to sit people up, and you're just thinking, what I should have done is listen to Colin. And Colin says, if you get caught with someone, don't try and pass them. Roll the throttle. Roll it, sit it back and get a clean lap. I didn't do that. And I cocked up and I qualified 13th. Now, qualifying round there means you've qualified. There's no rolling grids. And what I mean by rolling grids is, in your first race, it doesn't change your position.
Right, that's it for the
weekend. Obviously, bar the championship race, which goes off your best time. So
yeah,
we carried on thinking, got to chip away. And I haven't been on the bike since TT. So it was like, oh, bollocks, different setup gear and everything. 13 minutes of qualifying, that's all we had. So anyway, this qualifying session cocked up the job, but the 600, once bitten, twice shy, young'un. Once bitten, twice shy, and I learned. You know what I mean? Just poof, off, let them all clear. Now, even at the TT, the 600 is actually my own bike that I run with the Davies team, because they've put so much effort and so much time and money into everything to get me to move up the ladder. Hence the Super Twin results and all that shit. Anyway, but with that, the 600 was down on power, massively down compared to Jamie's, Prez bike.
Yeah.
And obviously Dean Harrison's 600. We were just down, and everyone around us, you could tell that. But I qualified 5th on that, which I'm over the moon.
You must have been riding hard on that, because, like you say, I know. It's sometimes it almost sounds like making excuses if you're saying your bike's not as fast as the others, but the truth be known, you can go out there and say buy a top of the range, 2019 600 with the motor, get the engine all done, and you can spend a hell of a lot of money and have all the bells and whistles. And although your bike's a good bike, it's a bit. What year is it?
Well, my bike's a 2012.
2012, and so the speed traps tell no lies, and it's not the fastest thing out there, but you're riding the wheels.
I'm not the slimmest either, but in the same breath, I've seen faster lads, fatter on faster bikes go past us.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean? But I can make it up in the corners and drive.
Room for improvement, and sometimes as well when when you're reading sort of books or hearing stories of races that have sort of went through the ranks. What's often helped them is riding slow bikes earlier in the career, and they're really riding the wheels off it. So when they do get on the all singing, all dancing bikes,
it works.
They then sort of find it easier to sort of be running at the same pace, and that then allows them to push on a bit more. But obviously, so did you say 5th on the 600?
Yeah, so we went out and Sweeney was reeling me in, and but for the first race, we only got one race on the 600, unfortunately. Went out, we got 5th on that.
Good man.
And we just started to loop. Well, I lost the torque because the bikes were that quick down the straights.
Yeah.
But it put, as you would say, and you've taught me, Chris, you go bite the screen and go for it in the big bike. But like you say, on the 500, I think I'm combining my numbers here. So on my 600, I finished 5th. But unfortunately, unforeseen mechanical problem. The rectifier's packing on the ZX6s sometimes.
Right.
And it unfortunately melted my wiring loom. Only one plug on it. So the whole bike in itself is totally safe, totally fine. But obviously, there's no power.
Just one of those things, isn't it?
One of those things. And who carries round a spare plug bar a French prostitute? You know what I mean? But no, so got it no spare plug, so we had to sit the bike out, which is unfortunate, which left us on the big bike. But you know yourself, when you get a little bit agitated, it lights the fire.
Yeah.
And that ZX10 that you race, and obviously I race, we really chomped down the time. Like I said, we started 13th, and by the time I worked through the traffic, I was in a safe 10th. And I just went, just go for the times. And actually, in the second race, yeah, that's right, on stock tyres, on a stock bike, I got second quickest lap.
Bloody hell.
You know what I mean?
So you must be Harrison fastest,
then me.
Jesus, man, that's good going.
And I just went to myself, now it goes off a collective, time. So I qualified in the first race. I think a few lads went a bit quicker.
Yeah.
In the second race, I was second quickest. But that put me in a 5th place for the final race on the big bike. And I'm thinking, I'm in second row thinking, here. It's the first time this year I've thought, we're here. I can run with these lads, and I honestly thinking I can run with these. Don't get me wrong, I couldn't go and duff, I couldn't go duff Harrison up. It was him and Dunlop who were on superbikes, but mind you, Dunlop, Jesus, he fell out the sky like a cannonball, didn't he? It was on the old face tube, wasn't it?
Yeah, huge high side.
And anyone that doubts he's got a broken pelvis, there's a dent in Belaun circuit that proves otherwise. That
heavy landing, that wasn't it?
Didn't it? It just went. It was all hip, like, you know what I mean? It's like Happy Gilmore moment, all in the hips. It just went boof straight down, like.
So that was the last race, wasn't it? The sort of championship.
No, that was the second race. It was. I was second race because like Yellow Flag, that section did a very good job and went round.
Was it like second lap or something?
I think it was. I think see them two just cleared off, absolutely cleared off. And the power tells the stories. Everyone else was not really on stock machinery,
right?
But no, like I say, like I wasn't gonna go catch Harrison on that, but I just thought, right, I can. First time I thought, right, I can do this, and anyway, set off. I was third into the corner, and Ryan Neen, obviously the late Dan Neen's brother, Ryan, he went through me like a cheap slapper. I'm not kidding. Coming in Iron Gate, he really wanted it, and I just made a couple of little mistakes, and then I followed him and Hodgson. Hodgson was riding the absolute wheels of every bike he got on. Hodgson, we need him as a guest. Absolutely lovely lad, I'm telling you. But we tipped, like, went howling down, and when you just think, I can beat these lads. I can actually beat these lads. Following through, before the bomb all came up, me steering damper, right, sheared and went off in my face like premature ejaculation. I'm not kidding, just went bang straight in my face. I was like, when you're 16 and you're discovering yourself, Chrissy, and the first time, you're like, what's just happened? It was literally that on a superbike going through a wall left and right, I'm telling you.
Fucking hell,
and it just went bang, bang, bang.
I've had a steering damper go to it. When they go instantly as well like that, you almost get a bit of a shock, but I can't even imagine that on the roads. But then trying to continue as well.
That's it. So that was on the first, I did the first lap, and I was sitting fourth, and there was a big train behind us, and I thought, that was one of the worst places. It is one of the worst places that if you shut the throttle and stick your hand up, there is going to be a queue of people. And it was a bit like in my head. It was literally in my eyes. Like I had two tear offs. Went 1, 2. The oil's spooling out of it, and I went, I can't see. So I cracked my visor whilst trying to hold on to a superbike. Cracked my visor. I'm thinking, I can't roll. I'm going to have to let them pass me under sheer. They're going to have to pass me. Because if I shut the throttle, I don't know where I'm going to go.
Yeah.
And there was no safe places.
You could cause a bit of a commotion behind.
That's it. So if I rode, I just got it back. So anyway, I got to the start line, and when I pulled off the racing line, put my hand up, it was just like boom, 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 boom. And so I had to pull in on the second lap there, like the beginning of the second lap, and I was gutted. Absolutely gutted. But like I say, it's just been two little bumps in the road.
Yeah.
And speaking of bumps in the road, right, there's a superstitious thing at the Isle of Man, right? You can't say the word rat. Now,
I've heard about that,
I touch and wood, but we're not in the Isle of Man, so I can say it, right? You can't say a rat, because apparently there's no rats.
Right.
Now, the last time we had a little telltale, right, I had a wildlife problem last time that no one believes me on. I had the peacock at Grebe, right? As true as I'm sitting here across from you, young'un, there was a rat bigger than my face. Right, he was smoking a tab and he had a paper. I'm not kidding. A rat, a big ass rat. Right, honestly, the one that cooks in that Disney film. Right, this is his bigger cousin. It was fucking huge. Right, who would coming round there? Farm. Oh, jeez. Anyway, it's before the bomb ball. This is in the race before I'm gone. I remember riding along, going, "Fuck off! There's no rats. There's loads of them here, man." Bigger than me face. I'm telling you, it was huge.
So have we got the first ever sighting of a rat on the Isle of Man?
And no one's gonna believe me again, but I'm telling you.
So if there's any photographers out there that've got the evidence.
Wait, we're still waiting for the peacock, the rat. Honestly, it's gonna be like Noah's Ark at the end of this bloody season, isn't it? Oh man!
I knew you weren't allowed to say rat in the Isle of Man, and also gypsies don't say the word rat, they say longtails.
Longtails, aye.
Is that a similar sort of thing?
And you're not allowed caravans on the Isle of Man. So the Isle of Man have single. When we go and race, you have to fill in a special form.
Really?
I'm telling you can't take caravans normally over. So the Isle of Man government
is that to?
I've no. We've got to be careful here, haven't we? We've got to be very careful. So they've single-handedly got rid of pikeys and rats. But they let me on, so there's a pikey and there's a rat kicking around.
I didn't know that. So when you go racing there, you've got to specifically say you're going to race, but
Yes,
you can't just like tour around and stop off.
But if you go around, they've all got motorhomes or caravans.
Ah, okay.
There you go. You see, and you don't need an MOT on the Isle of Man.
Ah,
You just need one, and off you go. And we're going to go in the Isle of Man. So
anyway. I tell you what. So before rounding off the Southern 100, obviously we're about the super twin. I've just actually watched Enniskillen. I got a chance to watch Enniskillen on the BBC iPlayer.
That's still available now, isn't it?
It is, yes. My mate Kev Pinder sent us the link to that. And
Hello, Kev.
And I thoroughly enjoyed watching it. Obviously, we did a podcast straight after it, so I sort of knew the results and everything. But I really, really enjoyed watching it. I know what you were saying about it being dead bumpy and stuff. You obviously you could visually see what it was like, and the racing was brilliant. And I'm not blowing smoke up your arse as well. I thought you were riding really smooth and good. Obviously winning the twin race there, brilliant to see. And then following it up, getting another twin at the Southern 100 and going out. So that's 3 twins in the last 3 meetings that you've rode, isn't it? 3 different
quite
ones.
the stud, don't I? You know.
You're becoming a bit of a super twin connoisseur, aren't you?
Yeah. Oh God, it's a bit of better off sticking to wine taste, I think. You know what I mean? The only problem is you're supposed to swirl it, spit it back in, but I end up necking it.
That's a question. So obviously you had a very sort of victorious time on the Super Twin over at the Southern 100. How have the 3 twins that you've rode compared?
Mental. Well, you see, James's bike was... I'm trying to think. It's not the Mark 1 model, but it's a model before this new one. Anyway, right. And obviously what they've done is lightened off the frame, changed the chassis and everything, trying to make it more...
Smarten it up a bit.
Yeah, of course they are. You know, they've got to move forward with the times now. James's bike, the Counting family, bought that from a farm. It's a Simon Bleasdale motor and it's strong as hell. The bike's absolutely brilliant. Mm-hmm. But like every team out there, they go off budget. Mm-hmm. And then RJ Woolsey, now that was a Farquhar bike, that was an ex-Farquhar, but not the new shape, it was the older one. Now, obviously, RJ has got he's a busy family man, like the rest of us. Now, my sponsor, Roy Armstrong, got in touch with RJ and said, right, there you go, there's a bike, brilliant. Now, the bike was already geared because RJ already raced there, so, you know, we're getting there, and obviously some slight alterations to get me going. But no, to go and win me... my first ever Irish national meeting, then obviously to turn up at the pre-TT, so I'm getting the Southern. There's a meeting there called the pre-TT, and I keep getting mixed up. So turn up at the Southern, obviously through Paul's injury, I've been asked to ride this bike, but it's literally gone from, well, to put it, I'm going to upset some people here. It's gone from an amazing road bike, you know what I mean, to a all right, you know, it's a good race bike. It's a good race bike because Farquhar hasn't touched a bike in a long time. Farquhar makes an amazing bike without a doubt, but it's not the new one. Then you've hopped on a 250 GP on steroids, multi-thousand. It's worlds apart. Right. And I love James' bike debates, but this thing, it was bespoke. Ivan Linton's put so much time in, and Adam, who builds the bike, so alongside with the Davies, I mean, brain's gone to melt here, with the RC team. You know, they have made such a combination of properly developing a bike with, obviously, RC, Roy and Ben putting some serious money into it, but the bike is more than capable of winning. Ivan's got the lap record, and we were just shy of the lap record on it, and I've only ever been on it for, what, 20, less than half an hour before a race on it. Mm-hmm.
It's unreal, isn't it?
That's it.
And to jump on.
But the first race, Jamie was leading it, and Jamie edged the gap, but me and Rob Hodgson, who was on this, it's Kevin. Anyway, it's Ginger Kevin from Scotland. He's mint lad, and obviously him and Bleasdale made a team together. This KTS Electrical Racing.
Right.
That's it. And their bikes were they were pretty much exactly on par with this bike. Mm-hmm. So there was 3 bikes that were going to win it. Yeah, to be blunt. But the rest of the field, it was a full grid, absolute full grid. You know, Chicken was in there, Brad Vickers. There was some serious people in there, and Jamie went up into the lead. Now we had a problem a couple of white lines, but it was just it is a road race at the end of the day, and people are still constantly on the track. And I think Jamie's hit a bit of shit leading the race. He's lost the front, and thank God he's come out all right. He came into a corner called Church Bend, which is fast. He's hurt his knee a bit, but it left it for me and Rob. And me and Rob, honestly,
fought it out.
oh,
Tooth and nail.
yeah, it was mint. He passed me, I passed him back, and it was some crack. And, it was a total, like, I went in on, it was just all about the slipstreaming. And that race ended up being the 6th closest race finish ever around the Balloon circuit.
Yeah.
Now, all I'm thinking of, who the fuck was the closest? Because I'm thinking, if it was a midgie's dick between me and Rob for winning it. You know what I mean? It was just a proper, even one of us deserved to win it. And it was just like, what that close? And you think,
but another top step, another top step of the podium for you. You must have been unbelievably pleased with that.
yeah, so going, like I say, from a national win to an international win, straight after, which was good. And then obviously the next race, me and Rob were battling out again, and then unfortunately, he broke down. But the first finish first, your first must finish, and all that.
Mate,
so
that's it. Swings and roundabouts, in it.
It's the game we're in. So it's the game we're in.
Do you know the race that you were battling for the win, and you just edged it? Did you have a sort of game plan going on the last lap, or was it just balls out? And
it was proper like, right, there's me thinking, if I'm going to do it, it's now. Just stayed and just went up behind, tucked in, just got a brake edge, boom. Well, the good thing is it's going to be on telly now. You know yourself when you're racing, you think that's going to be mint. Probably wasn't realistically, it's going to look shy. But for me, it was something unforgettable, and hopefully it's unforgettable for Rob. But Rob, both me and Rob deserved it. Jamie definitely deserved it, but unfortunately had a crash, and it's the part of that's why we all love the game, because you don't know what's going to happen.
That's it. So 2 wins. What round up your results? So 2 wins on the twins, and then what?
Because I bollocks up the big bike and I had a crap start in the first race, went from 17, finished 10th in that. Then went from, I think I finished 7th in the next one. And obviously I was sitting a solid 4th going for the second in the big. But yeah, no, overall,
good.
I can't thank the Davies team enough to get, first of all, get me there. And the Southern did a fantastic job. And but no, without the Davies team really pushing me as a rider forward, I wouldn't have been there and being able to battle the front, but there's no doubt we'll be there next year and really pushing results. And
did Piggy do us proud on the spanners?
Hey, what a boy! I tell you what a boy! He snores like a bloody train minder. He's just, but what a lad, man! He's just, I can see why you won't go anywhere without him. He is just such a calming influence, but he just enforces accidentally this trust. And he just keeps you level, you know what I mean? And he's absolutely... Put it this way, I'm over the moon that our timetables don't collide, because we'll be like a couple of kids fighting over the favourite parent. Oh, come with me!
Spot on. So have you got anything else to round up 700?
Obviously the sidecars that we don't mention.
Yeah.
That was it. It's a case of one of my friends, Michael Kirkup. He was out for his first time.
Well, Michael Kirkup's just painted my scooter for the BSB.
There we go. So first time there, but he finished. I'm just currently looking at the sheets
7th
here.
or something.
In the first race, he was 12th. What's all that about, young'un? No, but his first time there, that's brilliant. It's such a hard place to on a solo. Never mind a couple of people on a bacon tray. Not a chance. But in the next race, he finished. Am I reading this right? That is a solid 7th, mate. That is absolutely brilliant. And obviously the winners were the Pete Founds, John Oldham second, Lee Crawford. Oh, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And obviously they're passengers. But the sidecar lot don't get a lot of road racing. Obviously the TT, Southern and Oliver's Mount, which is coming up again soon, which is just insane. But, all these lads cry out for more racing, but it's always a good show, and it's we're going to have to get Kirkup on. We really are going to have to get Kirkup on.
Right on. Well, following on from 700, so our next topic I've got down as World Superbikes. Obviously, there's the Donington Park, which was last weekend, and then they've been straight out to America. I was actually racing at the first, at Donington Park, so the UK round of the World Superbikes. We also, the Stock 1000 were like a sort of undercard.
So does that actually count towards your championship?
Yeah.
So really, for people who want to compete for the full championship, had to go to Donington at World Superbike.
Yeah, it's, to be honest, mate, it gets built up as being a special round because it's the World Superbikes, when in fact it's probably the worst probably the worst event, like worst round on the calendar in terms for us. We'll get pushed right back to the end of the day. So we're out once on Friday at 5 o'clock, we're out once on Saturday at 5 o'clock, and we'll have a race on Sunday at, you've guessed it, 5 o'clock. So like
consistently 5.
Yeah, it's basically just all day we're just sat watching the bike race. I mean, it's a good weekend, but it's just a lot of waiting around and a bit boring for like 20 minutes a day type of thing.
But it must be special being a part of that paddock, or
do you
is
know
it?
what?
Or?
It was the first time I did it in 2009 was brilliant. Then 2010 it was great, 2011, and it just sort of
It's dying off.
It dies off a bit, and then now it's kind of like you say, you're right at the end of the day. You're in like the tarmac lake, which is miles away from the paddock. It's not. It really isn't.
It's lost its shine. It's still amazing, but it's
give
lost.
us a BSB weekend any day of the week over World
Right.
Superbikes.
Now,
So,
if you were inside the paddock, obviously, we talk about how it loses its popularity, the World Superbike, event.
yeah.
So, for you being inside of that paddock, is that what you're saying? Would you honestly say,
Well,
nah,
yeah,
not the World's? If you got offered a World's, if Chrissy Rouse got offered a World's ride, would you take it?
Well, eventually, it's something that I would
Eventually,
definitely
I love
like.
the attitude. This is good to hear.
Yeah, it's definitely something like I would like to do in the future. And I must say, compared to last year, they've made massive improvements. They've in terms of the show World Superbikes.
Right.
There was much bigger crowd there. They've brought the podium, a little bit like BSB, they've brought the podium into the paddock. So when the riders come off track on the podium, all the crowd can be there, crowd interviews. There's a guy called Michael Hill that does a brilliant job with all the sort of PR. There's like a massive show with loads of bikes and big screens, and he has riders on all weekend, commentates during all the practice sessions. It's probably better standing there watching that than being at trackside. It really is brilliant.
That good.
Yeah. And so yeah, overall it was a reasonably good weekend. For me on track, I really, really struggled practicing qualifying. I loved Donington the last time I was there on the national circuit, but with the international circuit, with the 2 hairpins, it was the last sector of the track I was really struggling with. So both first gear, and I was just losing all my time there. So ended up qualifying in 10th, which is our worst qualifying of the year so far. But
really?
But I got stuck in the race and just sort of bit the screen, got up to 5th, and by that time the top 4 were all under the lap record, so going at a real strong pace. I sort of did my best and got up to 5th, and I just felt I didn't feel great on the bike. We had a few issues during the race with the bike itself, so I was kind of pleased to sort of. For me, it was a sort of bad weekend, so we sort of scraped out a good result out of a bad weekend, if that makes sense. So reasonably happy with that. But
you had shit. You sprinkled glitter on it and served it up. Good
exactly,
lad. That's what I like to hear.
The one. But the rest of the weekend, there was a massive, the sort of big talking point. Well, there's 2 big talking points. First of all, Bautista, from his dominant form at the beginning of the season,
he was just annihilating everyone.
Yeah, he's hit a brick wall. He's crashing. And all of a sudden, he's went from a massive points lead. All of a sudden now, Johnny's turned it round, and Bautista cannot stay on the bike for love nor money, and Johnny Rea can't stop winning. So it went from Bautista was leading by miles, and he was massively odds on by the bookies to win. Right. So not long ago, you could get 25-1 for Johnny Rea to win the championship. Right, and all of a sudden, Bautista's DNFing every weekend. Johnny Rea's winning every weekend. Johnny Rea's now leading by 81 points, which if you think you get 25 points for a win, it's a huge lead. That.
So what? All right, in your opinion, what the hell's happened to Bautista?
Bautista, I don't know if it's. I really don't know.
Just a stab at the dark. Go on. What do you think it is? His miss is not hopping on him or something.
I don't know. Racing's one of these funny games, isn't it? Sometimes you think you've got the job sorted and everything's coming easy, and then all of a sudden it turns to shit, and vice versa. It's a very sort of.
So how many rounds are left?
I'm not sure. I think they're like halfway through the season or something.
So it's literally the halfway point. It's like, wait, hold on. I know we shouldn't talk about any other sports, but look what England did in the World Cup in the cricket last night. Skin of their dick, my young'un. There you are.
So
There's time yet.
the World Superbike racing was good. There was a wet race which Johnny Rea was phenomenal under the pressure that he's on. Bear in mind he's chasing Bautista for the championship lead at the time, and he just went out. He was lapping. The first lap he came around about 2 or 3 seconds ahead of everyone, and then just extended. He was phenomenal to watch.
Just on form.
And Donington is so slippy in the wet as well, so to see him do that was amazing.
He's Irishman, you see, built for the job.
Yeah. Bautista had a few crashes, didn't have a good weekend, but the big talking point of the weekend was, do you know how they do a sprint race on the Sunday morning? So it's like a 10, right. I think it's a 15 lap or 10 lap sprint or something. Basically, they got away, and I think they were about maybe 3 or 4 laps from the end, all of a sudden the red flags came out, and on the big screen, it was just carnage, right? There were 6 bikes all went down. On the replay, Hickman comes out of the foggy S's and his bike shits itself.
Because Hickman was on the world's BMW bike stepping in.
Just a little shout out, he qualified in P4, which was phenomenal, yeah. Dodgy conditions, and he wasn't quite as strong in the dry, but he did a very good job running inside top 10 in both the wet and the dry.
Well,
so to just jump on the World Superbike, and he lapped within the 27s, which is incredible. BSB lap records are 28.8, so to jump on a World Superbike bike and be straight up there is...
Do you reckon that's on the horizon for him, do you think? Anyway,
possibly, yeah.
But like you say, you were discussing this issue.
Yeah, right, so basically, towards the end of the race, Hickman's bike blows up, shits itself, oil everywhere, 6 bikes all go down on the brakes into the Melbourne Loop. Okay, so the red flags come out, and the bikes are coming back to the pits. And all of a sudden I look up, and Tom Sykes, who was in second, and bear in mind he's had a difficult year so far, so for him to be in P2 on the BMW is massive. Massive for him, massive for the team, massive for BMW. He goes down on the oil.
Hold on, so
on the warm down lap, so like the red flags came out, so that's the race finished, right? So coming back to the podium, he crashes on the oil, goes down.
Bloody hell, right, because obviously I haven't seen this, big surprise for me, but so where was Hickman sitting in that race?
Oh, like
at the time?
Towards the back, say 10th, 11th.
Right, so he was 10th, 11th, blown up,
riders behind him, all
everyone's gone down, there's the oil, and this is...
Instantly red flagged.
So at that point, every rider knows the race is finished.
Yeah.
Right.
Result.
Right, the result's done, so he should be rolled off the throttle totally at this point.
Exactly, and this is where the whole problem comes.
But right, so the race is finished. So
they come round. Tom Sykes goes down on the oil. Right.
Well,
Johnny Rea puts his foot out. Looks like he's slipping off. Top Rack sees Tom Sykes go down. Doesn't even brake. Just goes carries straight on because he knows if he hits the brakes, he's going down as well. Right, so all these riders are going down, and it's more carnage. Right,
we're actually in a pile up at the incident anyway.
Then, but I'm thinking in my head at this point, bloody hell, Tom Sykes is crashed on the sort of warm down lap. He's still got P2, but his bike cartwheeled. So I was thinking, oh god, they're gonna have a job on getting the bike sorted for the race.
Was any marshals
in a few hours
at this point or anything? Because
you what? Sorry.
Well, if they've come round and crashed, there'll be marshals in the
on the track. Yeah.
Anyone else get clipped?
Marshals were lucky not to get clipped by these bikes.
Jesus.
Yeah, honestly, mate, it was carnage. There was a parked car.
Is this on YouTube? I'll watch.
I'm sure there will be. Yeah, there was a medical pace car on track. It was mental, right? So this all happens, but I'm thinking in my head, he's messed up a bit, but I didn't think his race result was in question. Then it came round on the tannoy, right, that apparently there's a rule that you've got to get back within 5 minutes so you've got to be back into the holding area within 5 minutes on your bike. So Tom Sykes gets back there without his bike, and he gets taken out of the Parc Fermé, and Haslam is then promoted up to 3rd, so Top Rack 2nd, Haslam 3rd, and Sykes has lost the race result. Right, so he's lost the 20 points. Right, okay, so, and everyone's like, whoa, I didn't know this rule. I didn't know the rule, to be fair.
I've never heard of this rule.
Yeah, it's... Well, so obviously Sykes is going mental, saying like, from his point of view, he was saying it wasn't like obvious where the oil was.
No.
And he said the red flags were out, but I don't think he's seen the slippery surface flag, lack of adhesion flag or whatever. But
red flag could be anything. A red flag, obviously, it's a major incident for a red flag.
So he was complaining that it wasn't obvious. He was like blaming the marshals for not making it obvious where the oil was down, right?
Oh, right.
So he's lost this result. So there's a big commotion, right? Now, at this moment in time, I'm watching and I'm thinking, he's been hard done by here. Like, I felt sorry for him, right? But then, when they've looked back at it, right, do you know how the track's split up into 4 sectors?
Mm-hmm.
The sector before this happened, they looked at the race times, and then they looked at how fast they went through on the red flag. How much slower do you think Tom Sykes was through sector 3? Than his race time.
Well, the way you're building this story up, I bet he was not slower.
1.3 seconds slower through a 20-second sector. So he's
hammering.
On a red flag. That's still
hammering.
too. Yeah, that's hammering.
That's hammering.
That's still too much in it. And this is the whole sort of going back to an argument. Can you see how it's turning into a big argument? Tom Sykes was saying if there's oil down, like say Peter Hickman's bike shit itself here. The marshals know there's oil everywhere here. Why wasn't someone on the track?
Was it wet or dry?
Dry, saying like pushing them onto the other side of the track, making it obvious. Where the marshals are saying they've got the red flags out, they've got the lack of adhesion flags out. Why aren't you backing off to like walking pace? Well, if he'd went down, he could have clipped a marshal, or there could be a rider down. And it could have been like a fatal accident.
So many marshals there.
Do you see what I'm saying though?
Well, the thing is, a red flag's a red flag, but going less than 1 second in a certain sector, it's like,
ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
But I think
I've always, every time I've been in a red flag, and I bet you're the same, it's like it's
hands up, yeah,
and you just tootle. Unless you needed a shit, even then, Oh God!
Yeah. So anyway, this is the big sort of debate going on at the moment. And to be fair, BSB straight in Stuart Higgs, and he's made a new rule that on a red flag at BSB, you have to go. I think it's 20% through every sector, otherwise you get penalised. So
hey, learn from mistakes.
I've got to say this is what it's all about to avoid dangerous situations. Do you know what a black box is on a plane?
Mm-hmm.
So every plane's fitted with a black box,
recorded, yeah,
and it records all the inputs. And
well, the bikes kind of.
That's why aviation has become so much safer in the last 30 years is because of a black box. So like for instance, when there's been plane crashes,
they can find out why.
People aren't the engineers aren't bothered whether it was the pilot's fault or if it was it's not to do with insurance and it's not to do with this. That black box is essential for learning from your mistakes and making sure things can't happen again. And I think Stuart Higgs has done a good job here. He's seen a situation. It's a messy situation. Obviously, we wouldn't want a repeat of it. So he's brought in a rule which has made it... It should have been obvious anyway to back off 20%, I would say, on a red flag.
But if you make a rule, and that's how you... No, fair play.
So push it. But can you see how it's a real awkward one? Because not only did Sykes go down, Johnny Rea said, "I feel really sorry for Tom. I slipped on the oil, and anyone could have went down." So
even slowly, it can come off, but still, I can.
In hindsight, though,
we could spend the next hour talking about this.
If oil was down in a certain section, it would be in everyone's interests for a marshal to stand and push you to the other side of the track. But that would only happen if everyone's backing right off. So first of all, the riders need to back right off, don't they? So
you need to meet in the middle.
Yeah, exactly. So that's our chasing the racing take on the incident at the weekend.
The shit steerers chasing the racing.
Just quickly, Laguna Seca, they had 3 more races at the weekend. Johnny Rea won 2 of them and was second in the other. Bautista didn't score a single point. DNF the first one, got knocked off by Top Rack in the second one and couldn't race in the third one for injury. So the tables have massively turned in World Superbikes. And it's one of those it'll be. It's looking like Johnny's going to his fifth straight title. So next topic, dead quickly, MotoGP Sachsenring in Germany.
Yep. Biggest
talking point, Cal Crutchlow gets a podium, 3rd place in MotoGP.
Brilliant.
4 days after breaking his leg.
Never.
He was out cycling, yeah. He was out cycling.
Has he made a bleeding bump? I'm trying to think of something soft. Is he a southerner or something? I'm joking.
So he's so I'm just looking at the BBC. I know the BBC like to sort of glorify everything, but Cal Crutchlow third in Germany 4 days after breaking his leg. So he finished. It was 7 seconds behind Maverick Vinales. Sorry, Marquez was first, Maverick Vinales second, Cal Crutchlow third. There was a right good battle on from 4th to 8th. Unfortunately, Rossi was 8th, which was a bit disappointing for me because that's I like Rossi, to see Rossi do the business. But reasonably good race. And that's all I really want to say about OGP. I haven't really got much more to talk about.
Cramming the time, but
BSB Snetterton coming up next weekend.
Yes.
Really looking forward
Chris
to that.
Is win great, again.
Great, brilliant track. The 300 circuit there, and I think it's all the championships are sort of heating up, and it's
people are starting to figure out what they need to do now.
Yeah, and I'm good weekends racing ahead.
Good man.
Scott Redden's leading the championship at the moment. I'll just get the old championship up. Scott Redden's leading at the moment with 176, followed by Tommy Bridewell and Josh Brooks. So the top three old Ducatis. Then it's Tara McKenzie, Danny Buchan, and Xavier Forez. So that's top 6. And remember, the top 6 goes into the showdown, so that's the important bit. Behind, we've got Christian Dom, who's got broke his leg at Knockhill. Peter Hickman 8th, Andy Irwin on the other Honda 9th, and Dan Linfoot on the Tag Yamaha in 10th. So, looking forward to the
wide
racing.
Open.
We've got Danny Kent coming back from, obviously he's been in the MotoGP paddock for years, ex-world champion, Moto3 world champion. He's the only British world champion since Barry Sheen. You know how...
Which is kind of claim.
Yeah, a long time ago. He's coming back with the it's Bike Devils Insurance MV Augusta team. So it'll be interesting to see how he gets on. Obviously, he came at the end of last year. He actually replaced me on the Halsall Suzuki.
Yes,
and he didn't impress in his go on a superbike then. So he's got a massive job on. I think it's the old Leon Camier's MV. But that team haven't ran an MV Superbike before. It's never really ran a Motec. Danny's doesn't really know that. He did a track day the other day on a 600, but he doesn't really know the track.
It's literally
doesn't
shit
really know
busters.
Superbikes. Yeah, to be honest, mate, it's
a reach.
Yeah, it's going to be a massive job for him, and I cannot see him doing very well on it, if I'm honest. It's the team that he's riding for is ran by. Do you know who Dave Tyson is?
I've heard the name.
Big fella. He ran an MV team in this on them 675 things. He ran them a few years ago, and he ran Danny Buchan 1 year in Superstock 1000 when they won the championship for. Can you remember the Qingdao beer team? Qingdao. So yeah, he's come back to the paddock, and he's going to be running Danny Kent on that bike. I think Dave's one of these blokes that he's got a heart of gold and he's got great intentions, but he kind of he can't say no to people, so he sort of stretches himself too thinly, and he kind of what's the words sort of tries to please everyone but ends up pleasing nobody.
I know.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's when he was running the 675 team, he's in one season. I've got a funny story about this actually. We were once having a Christmas at the end of the season. We had like a Christmas quiz. It was like a bike racing Christmas quiz a few years ago, and the whole quiz came down to like the winning team came down to one like a deciding question, and it was how many riders had Dave Tyson had that year? So how many riders did Dave Tyson have riding for him in one season? And we had a big argument over the correct answer because it was either 16 or 17. And the sort of debatable one was, can you remember Agostini came to Snetterton one time to like open a corner because there's an Agostini corner, and he actually rode one of Dave's MVs for like a parade lap. So we had an argument whether like that was the 17th person. But I honestly I wish them all the best, but I really feel the pissing in the wind with that combination. But yeah, best luck to them. Vickers is back after he had a bleeding on the brain at when did he
It
crash?
was a
Brands
while ago,
Hatch.
Brand,
So
yeah.
he missed the last round at Knockhill, and he's back. So hopefully he'll sort of settle down. He's a fantastic rider, doing a great job when he's on the bike.
He doesn't have to prove anything at the first meeting.
Exactly. It's all about just getting back on the bike, getting some
Swing.
more laps, and hopefully continuing with his progression for the rest of the season. And I think Billy McConnell's also back after he had I think it was like a hernia. His hernia taken out or whatever, so he's missed the last few rounds with an operation, but he's also back on the saddle this weekend, racing against me. So I wish him all the best, but not too much luck.
Hope you're well, but go shite.
Not too well. And Snetterton, and I think that's it for my Snetterton sort of roundup. So looking forward. We'll do a podcast maybe next week and hopefully bring some good news back
Debrief
from
on
Snetterton.
that. We've got to get Marshall of the Pod on.
Yes.
Now, mate.
So Marshall of the Pod, would you like to introduce?
Oh, we have the mysterious yet seductive Tabby.
So we're joined by the Marshal of the podcast, and we'll have with us this evening Tabby. Tabby, can you hear us okay?
I can hear you. Thank you.
Then spot on. So, first of all, thanks for coming on the podcast as our Marshal of the pod. How long have you been a Marshal?
Just over a year.
Just over a year, cool. And how?
Well, hold on. What? Just over a year. So what made you get into it then?
I've been going to road races for over 40 years. Just always loved it. I knew there were shortages of marshals, and I'd been asked a couple of times. Was interested in joining, and sort of just eventually said, why not?
How have you found the experience?
I absolutely love it.
Cool.
I've just met some of the best people doing it, and you get to see a different side of the racing. You know, yes, there's the sort of the responsibility and everything else, but you really do get some sort of good spots in the racing to go to. You've sort of meet a lot of people, spectators, competitors, just people all around the paddock and in the middle of the hedges, wherever you are. And it's really, really lovely.
Here's a quick question for you. Could you go back to being a regular spectator after that now? After becoming a marshal?
I'm sort of enforced into it at the minute, but just for a few weeks. But I prefer to do the marshalling now, I think.
That's brilliant. So really, if you could, would you just recommend to anyone to become a marshal? Because like you say, like there's always a struggle. Well, struggle's a strong word.
Yeah.
People are always looking for marshals to join the force, and obviously, you know, me and Chrissy fine well know, no marshals, no racing. So is it something that you would really push forward now to other people? Just can stop spectating and get involved?
I think it's something, I think you would have to have an inclination for it. But if it's something, if you really enjoy the racing and you have a genuine interest in it, and it does have to be ever so slightly crazy, I think, as well. Definitely go for it. I really enjoy it.
Brilliant. And what events have you done so far?
I've done this year. I've done most of the Irish roads apart from last weekend. I've done some Bishop's Court, short circuits, Northwest.
Oh, so you've done
That's it so far. That's it for this year at the minute. Yeah.
Have you ever been over to the TT then, or is that on the bucket list?
It's on the bucket list. It always clashes with tricky times in work, so it's very hard for me to get off at that time of the year.
What do you do aside from marshalling?
Definitely in 2 years' time, it's an absolute certainty. That's one that's definitely on the cards.
What's the day job? What do you do in between marshalling?
I'm a supervisor in a shop, and I work as a textile artist as well.
Oh, very nice.
Never stops, man.
Never stops.
Never stops. You never stops. There we go.
Keep busy. It's the only way to be.
And obviously keeping busy. Now, obviously me and Chrissy fine well know that you've suffered a bit of an injury
obviously doing this great thing called marshalling. So would you like to talk through what happened here? What exactly occurred to you?
I was doing a zone marshal at Enniskillen Road Races a couple of weeks ago, and unfortunately one of the riders lost control coming over the brow of a hill, and
was that our very own Kevin Baker, was it?
It was Kevin, yeah, who's thankfully on the mend now.
Good stuff.
But it was one of those sort of instant, I could see him coming just my general direction. I jumped out of the way and unfortunately landed in the cattle grid.
No way.
So, I put my hand out to save my foot, went into the cattle grid, put my hand out to save myself, and I smashed my wrist in 4 places.
Oh, no way. Well, and that's deterred you from being a marshal then?
Yeah, sure, it could happen anytime.
Stop. You see, that's the attitude we like to hear.
I was more concerned with trying to get it radioed in to get a red flag, but the flag marshal above me was fantastic. He had the red flag out instantaneously, and all the riders got stopped safely, I think, pretty much immediately. And the medical team, fantastic.
Oh, good. How's the recovery coming along?
I had it plated and pinned last Saturday and was discharged from hospital last Sunday and went straight from hospital to the scaries.
Good. That's the spirit.
Not the heart.
So that just shows you I'm a wee bit mad, but sure.
There we go.
How do we done?
Speaking of being mad, thank you very much for joining the bomb squad while I've got you on the phone.
Oh, no problem.
No, thank you very much.
Pleased to do so.
Well, that's it. No, at all.
Every wee bit helps out, hopefully.
Oh, definitely.
Well, just to round up, we've got a quick sort of here we've got 5 quick fire questions, so it's just like one or the other, and you have
to answer as quick as you can.
Off you go, just an honest answer. Okay, so I'm going to start off with Harrison or Hickman.
Hickman.
Go on, girl. Right, jam or marmalade?
Oh, jam.
Oh, she's good.
Sheen or Roberts?
Sheen.
Right, a pint of Guinness or a bottle of Blue Wicked?
Oh, Guinness every time.
Oh, you see, they are stereotypes. You got to love it. Right, here we go. The final one. If you were going to shoot one of these commentators, which one would you shoot? Chris Kinley or Tim Glover?
Oh, God.
Go on, commit. Just answer it. Go.
Oh, God, I don't know. I'll probably miss anyway, Chris.
Bollocks to you. Go on, answer the question. The both would crack. Just shoot one.
Yeah. Chris.
Oh, yes. Right, sorry, Chris, you're gone, mate. Great.
Well, Tabby, thanks so much for coming on the podcast, and hopefully we'll catch up at a road race in the future sometime. And I really hope the wrist injury is coming along well, and you'll be back out with the flags sometime soon.
Are you coming to Armoy in a couple of weeks?
Oh, absolutely.
Good.
Yeah, I'm at Bishop's Court this weekend, and then Armoy, and then to the Ulster.
Oh, brilliant! Right, well, you'll definitely catch up with me. Obviously, Chris has been at waxed head, waxed arsehole, BSB rock star. I'll be there, so don't you worry. We'll catch up soon.
We'll see about the paddock anyway. All right, have a good one, guys.
Yeah, thanks for coming on the podcast. And if you send us over your address, I'll post you over a Chasing the Racing mug as a thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
Thanks,
Cheers,
Tabby.
Tabby. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
So a big thanks to Tabby for joining us on Chasing the Racing as our marshal of the podcast, and thanks to all the people that voted for her on the Twitter feed. And hopefully we'll get a few more marshals on in the near future.
Get the mugs handed out, mate. Get the mugs handed out.
So, but as an outro, obviously we've got the North Yorkshire thing. I'm not sure when this podcast is going to go out, so it might even go out after the North Yorkshire thing. But we've got that Tuesday night down at North Allen, and obviously you're hosting that. So look, I'm sure that'll be a cracking night. Really, really
Me
looking
just
forward to
the piss
it.
out of a bunch of TD riders. That's all it's going to be.
That's it. We've got I'm heading down to Snetterton for the weekend. Have you?
Good luck for that, by the way.
Cheers,
Good
mate.
luck for that.
Have you got big plans for this week? Up to much?
No, just cutting trees, trying to make up for lost time. You know how it is, man. You know how it is. But like you were saying, mate, we'll just wrap up the show. But you know, we've got to end it. We've got to end it on this note, mate. And we all know, and we all love this sport, but there is a darker side to this sport. And sadly, over the weekend in Southern Ireland, there, Walterstown, Darren Keys lost his life to the sport he loved, and obviously, my thoughts and prayers are with him. And we've also had a bit more bad news, haven't we, Chrissy?
Yeah, unfortunately, another lad lost his life down at Brands Hatch at the weekend, riding rookie mini twin down at Bempsey. So just like to sort of say rest in peace, and all the friends and family of both lads, sort of thoughts of with them, and hopefully they'll have a good send off probably this week.
Yes, definitely. But no, Chrissy, until next time, matey, we'll catch you soon.
I would just like to say big thanks to Incon Tango Training for sponsoring the podcast.
Of course,
and also big thanks to everyone who's been continually leaving positive reviews on the old iTunes, because our reviews are flying up. And remember, 5-star only.
5-star only.
If you want to leave one, it's a 5-star, or don't bother.
That's the one. That's exactly it.
But, yeah, big thanks, and we'll be able to get a podcast in next week.
We'll squeeze one in.
No,
that's absolutely brilliant. But obviously, like we keep saying, you know, thoughts and prayers are with the fallen riders there. But no, till the next time, we'll go from there, mate.
See you in a bit. Ciao, ciao.